Hi, Statesmen Nation. Welcome out to another edition of the Coaches Show here at the beautiful Trio. That's when everybody over there is supposed to clap, especially CJ. Thank you, CJ. All right, we got a great list of coaches here tonight, but to begin with, we will actually have our athletics director, Grant Ferris, joining us for a couple minutes here. Grant, as much as I love talking to you and everything, we do have some really special news that we wanted to share. Made a big announcement this afternoon, and I'm going to let you tell the restaurant and everybody watching at home in case they don't know. So what's the big news at William Penn?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Wade. The exciting news that I have for you tonight is we will be adding women's flag football starting next school year. The first season of competition will be the spring of 2027.
Hey, look at that. They clap. They always clap for somebody else. It's never for me. All right, adding a sport, nothing new. We've added a few over the years, but can you explain the process of, how we got here, just starting from, the whole process, I guess, and from day one of thinking of where you need to add another sport?
Yeah, I think we're always interested in looking at what we have the possibility of adding. I think that there's a lot of things that go into it, resources, facilities, you kind of name it, we have to look into it. It's got to make sense for us, and I think that's the most important piece when you ultimately decide to add a sport is, do we have somewhere for them to play? Do we have the resources available on campus to make sure that they feel supported? And for us, when we were looking at it, when I got the job in July, one of those sports that kind of jumped off the map was women's flag. The main reason being we have the stadium. We have a beautiful facility that they can play at in the spring. We only host lacrosse games there in the spring for the most part, occasionally a track meet here and there. And so for us, having that space and being able to use that for women's flag was the main reason. And then obviously looking at the resources that the NAIA provides in terms of return on athletics and those kind of things, it made a lot of sense. It's growing really fast at the college level, and so we don't like to get in the game when we're too late. We like to get in the game ahead of everybody else. And so with only, I believe there's like 35 programs right now in the NAIA, and so if we can get on ahead of the game and get in recruiting and get our program established before everyone else, I think it puts us in a better position going forward.
All right, well, you answered the question of why flag football, but let's talk about the next step in the process. We announced it today. Obviously, you got to have a coach to be able to do recruiting, so let's talk about that next process.
Yeah, so we're going to start a national search. The job will be posted beginning of next week, and the hope is to have somebody hired by the first of the year. And so that way they can have about 6 to 7 months recruiting, get some kids in the door, and hopefully have a competitive first season.
All right, that seems to be, I guess it worked out nicely, I guess I should say, that at the time of us adding flag football on the women's side, our football team on the men's side having our breakout year, 7-1 right now. We'll be talking to Coach Benavidez in a little bit, but let's talk about the excitement. I know you mentioned right after homecoming that there was just a lot of buzz with how good the football team's doing and everything like that, so it's really getting a lot of excitement here at William Penn. So let's talk about kind of what you witnessed a couple weeks ago at homecoming and just how, in regards to the team making a push for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think we talk about it all the time. Homecoming is kind of our Super Bowl, so to speak, in terms of the biggest event of the year, what we kind of look forward to as an administration. And so going into homecoming every year, we always kind of take a big, deep breath, and we're like, this is going to be a little tough. And football in the last few years hasn't been the best, we'll say. And going into this year, we knew that there was going to be excitement. We knew there was going to be buzz with the success our football team has had this year. And so going into that, being able to meet with alums, talk to donors, those kind of things, the energy around football right now is just something that I haven't seen in my time at Penn. I actually had a conversation with Nick Rule, one of our former ADs, and he said, "You're lucky. I never got to experience that." And so I've been super fortunate in my short time as AD to be able to have a football team that has been successful, and we're looking forward to what that looks like in the future.
Yeah, definitely strike when the iron's hot, right? All right, finally, so we can, I know you love being in front of the camera and everything, so we're going to get you out of here in a second. But on the personal side, you and your wife Madison decided to buy a house at, let's just say, the busiest time of the year. So how'd the move go? Did we survive?
We are currently surviving. We haven't finished. It's kind of funny. I told my wife I would only buy a house in the summer or Christmas break, and we saw who won that argument. So, but no, it's going good. We're excited to have a house and a home here in Oskaloosa, and it's something we've been looking forward to. So, yeah, it's been good.
Well, I can't say much. 5 years ago, we did it about the same time, right when school was going on. So, yeah, I know that, the wife wants, she gets what she wants, right? All right. Once again, thanks to Athletics Director Grant Ferris here for joining us for a few minutes. We'll let him go. When we come back, we will have another coach here on the Coaches Show. Welcome back to the Coaches Show. We are now joined by head women's soccer coach Caleb Preston. See, they're never very good about hearing. I always wonder if anybody's listening when I'm talking. Okay, all right, Coach Preston. Let's just say it's been a tough fall. We were just talking off camera about this. It's been a tough fall, but we're going to pull out the positives. We always want to be optimistic and pick out what's been happening good. And defensively, outside of a few halves, it's been a really good fall for the Statesmen. Let's talk about the pride it takes that when the offense isn't going, the pride it takes to continue to work hard and to keep the score as low as possible, even though the offense, like I said, is struggling at times.
Yeah, I think we've taken a lot of pride in that. Is it on? We're good. I think we've taken a lot of pride defensively this year. I think a couple of things account or attribute to that. We've done really well kind of preparing for our opponents, understanding where they're strong, understanding what they're good at. A little bit. I apologize. Do I just need to run that back entirely?
You're fine.
I think we've taken a lot of pride defensively this season. I think a couple things have attributed to that. One, we've done a lot of preparation for our opponents, just understanding what they're good at, understanding where we can kind of prevent them from going forward. I think the other thing that is attributed to that a little bit too is we put a lot of focus on our whole team defending. Even the attackers have a responsibility to get behind the ball and make things difficult on opponents. So I think it's both of those two things have attributed to a better defensive season.
All right, let's pick out a game in particular that you're really proud of, that you're like, the team did nearly everything right. And, if we can do that moving forward, we know that there's a lot of, wow, I'm just struggling for it. A lot of good things coming in the future if we can continue doing some things like that.
Yeah, I think the game against Missouri Valley stands out. Obviously, we lost 2-0, but it's a very top team. They're currently ranked 4th in the nation. We only conceded 2 goals. Both the goals we conceded were absolutely great goals. So we were very tough to beat on the day. We made life difficult on our opponent, and that's something that you can really feel that, and it's exciting for the girls. They were proud of their performance as well too. Obviously, we didn't get the result on the day, but we knew that we made it difficult on them, and that was exciting for us.
All right. Again, we talked off the camera. Sorry, we haven't been able to get you on the show yet, but in standard form here, when we get a coach on, we like to kind of break down the next opponent. You just have one more opponent to finish off the year here, rival Grandview on Saturday. Let's talk about the Vikings. It's a matchup that features two teams that have struggled a little bit on the offensive end. So what are you looking forward to with the Vikings on Saturday?
Yeah, I think kind of looking at Grandview, they do a good job defensively. They understand their strengths. They understand their weaknesses. So they put a lot of numbers behind the ball. They make life difficult on opponents, try not to concede very many goals. They don't throw too many numbers going forward. So we're going to have chances to kind of really put the pressure on them, make them defend for 90 minutes. So, yeah, I think we understand that they're going to sit in, and it's our opportunity to go out and really attack and make something of it.
All right, Senior Day is also Saturday. We have 10 seniors that have been, a good chunk of them have been around for a while. So let's talk about that group. You don't have to talk about everybody individually, but just give me some memories from this group. You've been with them for a little over a year since you late start last year, but a little over a year, probably a lot of the good memories, road trips, all of that stuff in practice.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much because obviously on senior night they'll go through their favorite memories as well too, but I think they're always so fun on the bus and energetic after matches and things like that. So the karaoke nights and stuff like that on the bus are a lot of fun. Those are be memories that I hold close to my heart for the rest of my life as well too. I think the Grandview game last year is something that also sticks out to me as well. It was a good performance out of us. We got a result on the night, so that was really good and really positive. I have lots of individual memories with lots of them. Like, for instance, Sean Baugh and I had a cook-off last week. So we both prepared a dish and cooked off and saw who won. And I took that one down. So just good memories with all of them. Another one, again, spoiling this for tomorrow, but Lily Cody scored 2 goals against MNU last year with a broken arm. So that's a very positive memory. But this senior class has a lot of character. They faced a lot of adversity, and they always show up, and they're ready to compete all the time. So I can't say enough about that group.
All right, once again, Coach Kayla Preston of women's soccer. The team will take on Grandview Senior Day at Dross Field. It'll be a 4:30 start, so definitely come out. I think weather-wise is going to be pretty good, so it should be a great way to start senior night with the doubleheader and the men following after that. But once again, Coach Kayla Preston here on the Coaches Show. We'll be back in a minute with our final coach.
Thank you.
Back here with our final coach here on the Coaches Show, head football coach Mark Benavidez. See, they just always take a little bit of time to warm up. They eventually figure it out. All right, Coach, since 2 weeks ago, a couple more wins under your belt since last time we talked. Let's give a quick recap to the folks about those lopsided victories over Missouri Baptist Homecoming and then up at Clark up in Dubuque last weekend.
Yeah, I feel like it's been forever since we've talked. Missouri Baptist, great homecoming win. We're able to have success all 3 phases. Fortunately, our guys were able to stay fairly healthy there. Again, really proud how our guys were able to respond all week. Having 2 weeks off without playing a game with the bye week, and also after a loss, and having those guys go out there and dominate was awesome. And then again, this past weekend's Clark, having to wake up fairly early, go make that commute to Dubuque, and again, all 3 phases where our guys went out there, made some plays, offense, defense, special teams. Wasn't absolutely perfect. Kind of frustrated how we kind of ended the game at time to an extent, but whenever you win by 3+ touchdowns, you're having success.
All right, let's talk about the second hard clash of the week that we have this year for us, taking on Peru State. Big game. Everybody knows it. Let's break down the Bobcats a little bit. How do they look?
They're good. I believe right now they're 4-4, but they're definitely a lot better than what the record shows. I would say they are exactly that team that just plays to their opponent. Those great teams they've played, like Grandview, for an example, they had the lead most of the game. You talk about teams like Clark that we just beat. They beat them 54-0. Central Methodist, that was a really tight game going in the fourth, 43-43. Then they went ahead and won that one. But they've got a quarterback that's had a million touchdowns, a million yards, a lot of success. I think overall as a roster, they're probably a little bit younger than they've been in the past. But big thing for us is we haven't beat them since 2016. And so it's a huge game for us, a lot of extra motivation going into this one. And, hopefully our guys can have another big day at Lacey.
All right, school records have been breaking left and right. It seems like every week we're putting Des up or somebody, Marquise, up as well for a new record graphic. Obviously, sometimes you just get big scores because it sometimes just happens, but other times you do it because everything is just going well, and you're just playing really well, and you just end up breaking off these big plays. Let's talk about that correlation between playing really well and really confident and those big plays coming.
Yeah, at the end of the day, execution. I'll say it all the time. How do you win the game? Execute. Do your job. And these guys are to the point right now where we're working our butts off every day. Like, right now, practice, we're out there at Lacey with the wind tunnel and getting windburn on our faces and this November, soon to be November weather. But guys are working their butts off, or they're getting prepared, they're staying focused. This being year 3 for me, we've got a number of seniors and those older guys that are leading by example. And, speaking of some of those plays, like Des, 98-yard touchdown, some of that is him just simply making a play and being a good football player. But also, if you watch that, you see guys like Alex Price that are running downfield, blocking 40 yards downfield. The offensive line making holes. Sterling Ramsey trying to block somebody 20 yards down the field. And that's huge for us. Marquise Harry making those plays, that's something that you'll do in practice. And we challenge those guys in practice to do whatever they can to mimic it. That way they can perform in the game.
All right, you've already alluded to them, but talking about these big plays, Dez Loring with that 98-yarder last weekend. Let's talk about, and I hate to always do this because everybody gets mad. Well, why didn't you talk about me? But this time it's on me. I'm going to just talk about Dez here. But let's talk about that very talented senior and what he's meant for the team this year.
Yeah.
And for the last 4 years, for that matter.
No, absolutely. Again, he's a guy that I inherited. His first year here, having a couple hundred yards in the season, and he's completely bought in what we're trying to accomplish, what we're trying to do. His skill set matches what we want. He reminds me a lot of a back that I had previously that had averaged 20-something touchdowns a season and was an All-American. He's having a great year, a potential All-American S-type year, and at the end of the day, like I don't really, as a program, we're not really concerned about records or him doing this or that. But we're concerned about the win-loss record, and giving that guy the football is going to help us with wins. And so he's done a tremendous job. We're expecting him to keep performing these next few guaranteed games that we've got left, and I'm gonna miss him whenever he's not here.
I didn't have this on the list here, but if you're going to talk about the running back, you got to talk about the line. You already talked about the wide receivers making the big blocks to bust open that 98-yarder. So let's talk about everybody else there that's doing their job too. They're not going to get in the stat books, the Logan Myers, the Chris King, et cetera, doing their thing on the line, but those guys are making it possible for him to get 150 whatever yards per game that he's doing.
No, 100%. I mean, as an overall program, you've got to be able to go block, and you've got to be able to tackle. And fortunately, we've got 3 seniors at offensive line, Chris King being kind of that staple guy at left tackle, Liam Bryan, a guy that transferred here with me, that's a senior, Dylan Frula, the same thing, transferred here with me, playing at right guard. And then somewhat surprising, somewhat not surprising, we've got 2 true freshmen that are absolutely killing it too, James Johnson and Daniel Peoples. I don't think those guys have, I know for sure Daniel hasn't taken a single snap off this entire season. They've got the athleticism, the size, that we need to go be successful. And in this conference is an absolute juggernaut, year in, year out, week in, week out. You're going against some very tough defensive lines, and they get to practice against our talented defensive line every day too. And so those guys are the big reason why we've won and been able to do what we've been able to accomplish so far this year.
And I just realized I talked about Logan Myers. He is not playing anymore, so I don't know
He's
what I was doing.
him, though.
And I'm guessing it's because he's in our office all the time talking to Drew or whatever. I don't know. He was in my head for some reason. But he is part of the coaching staff, which is part of my next question. So this is not a one-man coaching staff. Obviously, in football, you cannot do it all yourself. So let's talk about your assistants and how important they've been this year in continuing to elevate this program.
Yeah. Like you said, it's not a one-man show. I would like to think that I'm easy on guys, but I know I'm not. I know we've got high expectations and standards, and I'm extremely appreciative of our guys. I know I don't say it enough. I love those guys. They're working their butts off for myself, for the program. I can talk about each individual one of them, but I also don't want to stay here for an hour long. But, talking about some of those guys like Jay Burns and Grant Garth that came here with me from Kansas City that and not just them, but their spouses and girlfriends and significant others. They're fully committed to what we've accomplished, what we're trying to do. A guy like Matt Byers, who was here previously, that bought in to what I was trying to bring here and is working his butt off. Guys that played here previously, Turner Ellis, Howard Huerta, Logan Myers, Nico Robinson, that absolutely bought in from day one as players and then now as coaches, working their butts off. A guy like Maxwell Weber, who was with me at my previous school as a player and came here. I couldn't be more appreciative to those guys. An example, offensively, we met at 9:30 Sunday morning, and we're in the office until 6 p.m. That's every single weekend, every single day, not a day off until potentially Thanksgiving, and hopefully we don't have a day off on Thanksgiving. And so extremely appreciative of those guys, love what they're doing, and I couldn't be more proud of seeing some of those young guys progress in their careers and what they've been able to accomplish and do. And, something a lot of people don't understand is as coaches, we're human. We've got things going on in life. There's unfortunate events that happen or deaths or breakups or whatever. And all those guys have each other's backs, and we want to do whatever we can to, help them in life, not just on the field.
All right. One more time here for head coach Mark Benavidez, the team will take on Peru State. Big game, 11 o'clock start at Statesmen Community Stadium. That will open up a really big day. Also, following that, senior day, as I mentioned, 4:30 start for women's soccer and 7 o'clock start for men's soccer. Again, senior day on Dross Field. So, and begin with all that, we have the pregame show at 10 o'clock as well as part of the Heart Clash of the Week. So, super exciting. A lot of stuff going on at the Lacey Complex this weekend. But until next time, we'll have the coaches show here in a couple weeks. But until next time, go Statesmen.